How is it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have to go over Voyager Digital and the blowout quarter they just had. Now, I just listened to the conference call. I live streamed it. There's so much to unpack here. There are so many catalysts and so many things that you would have no idea about if you haven't watched the earnings call or listened to it. They have so many catalysts here. They have so much news. They have so much that they're trying to do. One of the people calling in compared it to Amazon in the early days. This is huge. This stock I think is going to go parabolic tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be, with the crypto market, who knows? If Bitcoin sells off to 30,000, who knows? It could go down. I'm not a stock analyst. It's really hard to predict short term what's going to happen in the market. But based on what they just did, I think this is going to have a massive boom in price. And I just did a video a couple days ago saying this was the last time you could get in on this cheap. And I think that might be the case. If you guys want to try out Voyager, if you're interested, if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in the stock. You should know what the platform is like. There is a link down there to Voyager. Even if you only like stock investing, you can put in some USDC or something. It's just a stable coin. You can throw in $100. You get a $25 bonus and you get 9% interest rate, and you can try out the platform. Also, if you guys want, there is a link down there to Patreon, so you can sign up. You can see what I'm buying and selling on a daily basis and get my news updates. Also, there is a link down there. Also there is a subscribe button down there and a like button if you guys don't mind hitting those. So let's take a look at what Voyager is doing. So Stefan Ehrlich led the call today. He is so professional. He was the CEO at E-Trade. He talked about how he's done this for 20 plus years. Very professional earnings call. It sounded like a Fortune 500 company, an S&P 500 company. Sometimes it can be a little sketchy, and sometimes earnings calls go pretty poorly. So that was not the case at all. Voyager Digital reports record revenues of $60 million with a 50% operating margin, generating an operating profit of $30 million for the fiscal third quarter. Now, there's going to be a lot more that I cover than just this, so don't click out because you see this. They did not give us any net income. There were no expectations either that I could find. So the operating profit was $30 million. Now, they are investing a lot into the platform, into the whole company right now. They still have a lot of money on their balance sheet. So they have $150 million at the end of this quarter. So they have adjusted working capital of 197, but they have 150 million in pure cash at the end of this quarter. They are crushing numbers. We saw this is the end of March, but we saw April's numbers. They have a significant amount of growth even in April. Now, something that I've been saying for a while is that I think they are going to grow a lot because of the fact that Dogecoin is trending, and they're one of the only apps that supported it at the time when it was going parabolic, and they mentioned that on the earnings call. That's a big part of their growth. They want to be the most customer-friendly, transparent, and easy-to-use platform out there. They pay an interest rate, which is what I got really excited about. Now, they are planning on increasing their loyalty program too with some of their customers, which is going to be big too. So they have a lot coming. I'll go through some other stuff that they mentioned here in a second. Something that I found really interesting. First of all, just this progression, right? People start by getting interest on some of their stable coins. They start here. They buy some of the major coins. So maybe they see Bitcoin fall down to 30,000. They say, okay, maybe I do want a little bit of Bitcoin. So they start with some of the major coins, and then they get into altcoins. And that's where they start making more profit. Their spread is higher on the altcoins. That's something that they've talked about in the earnings call. Now, something that is also very interesting just overall is this page here, key metrics. They have $14 million per day in net deposits. Their inflow versus outflow is 6-1, and they have not had one day, they said, in this last quarter that has been a negative inflow, so an outflow overall. They have not had one. All the market crashes, all the FUD around the market, which they actually talk about, all of that, they are still seeing more clients put money in than pull money out. It takes $40 per account for the acquisition of a client. The monthly revenue is $100. So that is an insane return on investment, right? So they're 2.5xing their acquisition costs every month. So you put in it, or you spend let's say $40 per account, you get 2.5 times that in the first month, and then it goes up from there. User growth 35% month over month. So huge numbers there. Now, some stuff that you wouldn't get unless you were actually watching the earnings call. 85% of the revenue is coming from altcoins. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. That can be good and bad because their revenue is much higher from altcoins. Now, we know that their revenue has 16x'd since last quarter. So not since a year ago, but since last quarter, it's 16x'd. They went from zero operating profit to 30 million. So 50% margin there. So pretty attractive right there. So again, 85% coming from altcoins, 15 is coming from Bitcoin and Ethereum. Obviously, those are the market leaders, at least in terms of what people usually think about for crypto. So a lot of people are using Voyager for interest rates and to buy some of those altcoins. That's one of the reasons I got Voyager, because of the interest rates and because I could buy more than just Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin. So that's one reason to pay attention to this company, right? They are a very heavily, they're a company that really benefits from trading a lot. So they have 10 trades per month on average from their clients. So they have that. And this might be a little bit out of order because I was just taking notes throughout the earnings call. They raised 145 million last quarter. They are planning to spend this on marketing and customer service. Those are two of the biggest things that I think they need to focus on, honestly. Marketing, because they're so profitable with their client acquisition versus their monthly revenue. And then customer service, because that is the number one problem that most people have with them, besides the fact that they go down. If there is some kind of issue, whether it's that they don't get a bonus or whether it is that something goes wrong, it's hard to get a hold of them. So they are listening to the community, which I think is awesome as a shareholder. Now, they are planning on getting into IRAs. They're planning on getting into NFTs. They're going to expand internationally. They are going to have loans, margin, debit cards. They are expanding into so many different things. They're going to have stocks on their platform too. They are growing like crazy. They have new executives that have a lot of knowledge in all these different sectors. They have more rewards coming. It's crazy all the stuff that they have going for them right now. Now, someone brought up, okay, what happened when all these different cryptos crash? Like, is this something that hurts you? And they say, no, volatility actually helps us. And this is something that I've been saying for a while too. They get paid, they make money from people trading. So volatility is good because more people are trading on their platform. Now, something else that you might not have noticed is they are actually going to repurchase, or they got documentation that allows them to repurchase 5% of their shares over the next year, which is interesting because they're so profitable. They think that possibly their shares are worth too little at this point, so they might actually be purchasing some of their own shares with this. Something else that they hit on was that only 17% of assets under management were actually loaned out, so they had about $6 to $7 million in interest, and this was part of their income, and that was not even with all of their assets loaned out. It was just a small percentage. So they plan on keeping it around 10 to 12% of their revenue. So again, that's something else where, hey, if they continue to grow, that should be a nice revenue driver for them. Now, they spent $9 million on marketing last quarter. I think they will continue to grow this because it is so profitable, or continue to raise this. Now, someone brought up how they seem like they are like Amazon in the early days, which was kind of interesting, right? This is the question section. So they said, I've been following Amazon since the early days. This reminds me a lot of it. When Amazon was just a bookstore early on. So they're getting at the fact that, hey, you're trying to do so many different things right now, and you're in one spot right now, but it seems like it can expand. They want to know the roadmap and what's happening with all these minority investments that they're making right now. So basically what they said is, with the minority investments, they really want to gain knowledge of the ecosystem, whether it's NFTs, whether it is anything else. They want to gain knowledge so that way they can add it to the ecosystem and is the best experience for their clients and their customers as possible. Roadmap, they got asked about several times, whether it was international expansion or whether it was the stocks or whether it was the time frame with market rebellion, and they didn't give that. They didn't give any real news on that. They said near future. With Market Rebellion, they didn't really have any time frame. Now, they said that their 50% operating margin was short term, and they think that this will raise over time when they get more assets under management. They also said that going back to the volatility in the market, because again, this is all happening throughout the earnings call, so it's kind of mismatched here in terms of flow. But when they had Bitcoin drop 25% in a day, it was one of their best days ever. So I'm not sure exactly the day that they're talking about it falling 25%. Maybe it was over a 24-hour period or something. I remember it dropped significantly, but I didn't think it was 25%. That was one of their best days ever, they said. So that kind of points out that, hey, they really do value the volatility. That really does help them. They also talked about how they had more crypto volume than Square over the last quarter. So that might give them a little bit, or that might give you a little bit of an idea about how much volume they actually have. Now, two of their top traded altcoins were Doge and ADA. Exactly what I thought, because again, ADA, you can't get interest in a lot of places, and Dogecoin wasn't covered and wasn't on a lot of platforms when it started to get a lot of notoriety. So a lot of people were looking everywhere for Dogecoin and couldn't find it, and then it was on Voyager. Something else that someone brought up, which is fantastic, I think, because Wall Street just doesn't get it, I feel like sometimes. But they were asking about the concerns over China. They're like, hey, we saw that China has been banning Bitcoin or banning crypto. Is this a concern for you? And I've been covering this on the channel. If you've been watching some of the crypto crash videos recently, I think it's all fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They banned this years ago, and it's just coming out again in mainstream media. So a lot of Wall Street is now covering it for the first time, and the CEO said, "We don't believe it. we think this is kind of BS." Now, he didn't phrase it like that, but he says he doesn't believe anything that comes out of China, and he thinks that essentially it sounds like he thinks that they're manipulating, just like the rest of us think that. Now, they plan on 2xing the headcount over the coming 12 months, which is a significant increase, obviously, and significant expansion. Now, one other thing that they talked about was lottery.com. So if you haven't seen this came out a little while ago. They have a partnership with lottery.com. Once launched, users will have the ability to use their crypto assets for lottery.com transactions, including games or lottery tickets. They will allow them to essentially use what sounds like cryptocurrencies, which is going to be really interesting. It's going to be something that I can't wait to see how that all turns out. Now, they do have the next update coming. So last month, they gave us an update for April. Huge increases. They didn't give us as much data as usual. They said 130,000 new funded accounts, but they didn't tell us anything about revenue. They didn't tell us anything about transactions or anything like that. So I can't wait for the new May numbers. That should be out probably next Tuesday, I would say. Maybe next Wednesday or Thursday, but usually it's pretty early in the month. So that is another big catalyst. If we see some appreciation tomorrow, or we see the stock price go up, I think we could see another bump once they come out with their May numbers, if they are pretty significant. Now, at this point, they have a run rate around 240 million. Now, I think this will increase because that was based on last quarter, and last quarter they grew revenues from 8.7 million in the first month to about 30 million or so. I'm trying to think of the exact number, 32 million. Working back on their numbers, 32 million in the last month. So really, that would give them a run rate, even without looking at April or May's numbers, that would give them a run rate of 360 million, which is really significant. That's 360 million USD, and this is in Canadian. So their market cap is still under $3 billion right now. So right now, this is looking like something where if you are interested in crypto, if you think crypto is here to stay, or even if you think it's just going to be here for a couple months, this might be a great swing trade, because I think there is going to be a lot of FOMO into the stock, especially if crypto goes back up. This is going to be a stock that is going to burst. Like if we look at the last 6 months, over the last 2 months, we saw it drop from $29 down, and there's been a lot of positive news, a lot of positive growth, and the fact that it's kind of altcoin season, as they say, where altcoins are gaining a lot in popularity over the last couple months, and Bitcoin's dominance has gone down. That's only helped Voyager's profitability, because they are an app that really focuses on some of those altcoins. But let me know your thoughts down below. I want to hear them. I think this was a great earnings call. I don't know what more they could have said. I don't know what more they could have done. I think this is an 8.5 to a 9.5 out of 10. So I think they did a great job. I'm really excited to see what they do here in May, and I want to see what the results are. But again, if you guys want to check them out, if you want to try out their platform, even again, if you're not super interested in crypto, I think it is important to know what you're buying or what you're invested in or what you're looking at. So if you guys want to try that, there is a link down there. Just deposit $100 and you can get $25 for free. You don't even have to put it at risk. You can just put it into some stable coin that pays you an interest rate as long as you hold it on there long enough. So definitely check that out if you're interested. If you guys want to know what I'm buying and selling on a daily basis, you can check out the link down below to Patreon. Of course, none of this is investing advice. Who knows? Anything could happen tomorrow, but this is really good news from Voyager in my eyes. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.